What's up, everyone? I'm your host, Raven, and welcome to the first episode of the Soulvereignty Podcast, where we will discuss topics that will inspire you to heal and grow as an individual. Throughout the course of this podcast, we will discuss a variety of topics that fall under categories such as personal growth, spiritual growth, relationships, soul ties, and even conspiracy theories. So you never know what the next topic may be, but I assure you it will be tailored to expand your mind. Remember, you hold the authority. And as a disclaimer, I'm a therapist, but this is not a therapy session. This is just a discussion to get your mental and spiritual juices flowing. So on the first episode, we're going to discuss conditional and unconditional love. So what is unconditional love and why is it important? Is it healthy? But in order to understand unconditional love, first we have to define conditional love. So take a second to think about how you would define conditional love. Write it down or lock it up in your memory because we're going to come back to it later. So according to my research and understanding, conditional love is when someone puts terms, restrictions, or rules on what they need to love you. In other words, they put conditions on their love for you, like a contract. If you don't do this or that or act this way or look this way or make this much money, then they won't love you. So most of us love conditionally. It's not necessarily always bad. Think about old friends or high school boyfriends you might have loved back in the day. So you might have loved them for a period of time, but once something changed in their relationship, you didn't really love them anymore. What about now? Think back on your definition of conditional love that you thought about a moment ago. Are there people in your life who love you conditionally? And vice versa. Are there people in your life who you love conditionally? Think about their role in your life. Is it someone like a parent? Is it your husband? Is it your best friend? If so, is that relationship furthering your growth in life, or is it deterring you from fully blooming? The problem with conditional love is that a lot of times it stems from insecurity and fear and just a sense of wanting control and power over someone. Okay, and so now that we touched a little on conditional love, let's delve into unconditional love. What is unconditional love? Take a second to define it in your own words and think of some examples. My definition of unconditional love is when you love someone without fear. It's pure, it's calming energy. Now, I'm not the most religious person. I'm more spiritual than anything. But I had to say that the best description of unconditional love comes from the Holy Bible itself. So I'm going to read y'all the Bible first. 1 Corinthians 13:4-7. Love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Does anyone else know that verse from the Destiny's Child song off their Survivor album, or am I the only one? Anyway, okay, so let's break that down. Love is patient. That's self-explanatory. We have patience with the ones we love. Because we all know the people we love, they make mistakes all the time. They make us mad. They do dumb stuff. So we have patience with ones we love. And who else has patience with us? God, right? So love is kind. That's also self-explanatory. Even when we are rude and mean to the people we love, we usually really feel a lot of guilt for being rude and mean to them, right? So love is kind. Generally, we want to be loving and kind to the people we love and care about. It does not envy. So how many of us have had friends that we felt like were jealous of us at one point? I haven't had that many. I can't really think of anything, but I know a lot of people have had friends that have been envious, and even family members. A lot of us even have family members that are envious and jealous of what we have and how we're able to overcome our experiences. So people who truly love you unconditionally, they're not envious. They're not jealous. You know what I mean? And then if they are, they're, mature enough to try to talk to you about it, or they're mature enough to realize that's their problem, right? It does not boast. So I know what boast means, but I had to look up the exact definition just to make sure so I could explain it correct, right? So according to Merriam-Webster, boast means to praise oneself extravagantly in speech. Speak of oneself with excessive pride, boasting about their accomplishments. Okay? So knowing that love does not boast. It's not going to brag about what they do for you. Now, someone who loves you unconditionally is not going to brag about what they do for you. Oh, I did that for you. I did that for you. No, because whatever they did do for you, it should have been out of love. It should not have been to fulfill themselves, to make them feel like they are so important because they did that and they did this. They helped you at some point in time. They shouldn't use that against you. They're not going to use that against you because they did it out of love, right? Okay, so the next part, it is not proud. Once again, that's a very similar thing. It is not proud. Once again, they're not loving you for some kind of reward, like it's some kind of accomplishment. They're doing it genuinely just because they love and care about you and want the best for you. It does not dishonor others. So that means that it does not disrespect you, I'm sorry. Someone who truly loves you is not going to consistently disrespect you and dishonor your name and who you are as a person. They're not going to be rude. And then once again, like I mentioned earlier, if they do something to disrespect you, they should feel like guilt about it. They should apologize. They should regret that. And they can learn from that experience, and then they shouldn't do it again. Right? Or at least they should work to not do that again. Not consistently disrespect and dishonor you. Next, love is not self-seeking. It's not selfish. Once again, they're not doing it for their own selfish gains. They're not doing it to fulfill their negative energy or their negative spirit. They're not doing it to make them feel better. They're not doing it so they can have someone to co-depend on. They love you to help you. It's not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. That's also self-explanatory, because if they're patient, they shouldn't be easily angered. We all make mistakes. They make mistakes. We're all human. I'm not saying they can't get angry at you, because if you do something messed up, then I would. That's also human nature to get mad. But they should be able to sit and listen to your perspective, understand your point of view, if you explain it correctly, and be willing to work with you, right? It keeps no record of wrongs. Who else does it sound like? If you're religious, this probably sounds like God to you. It keeps no record of wrongs. So, Christians, y'all, ask God, you repent and ask God for forgiveness, hoping that he will keep no record of your wrongs. Because we've all sinned, we've all done wrong, right? So you wouldn't want the person who's supposed to love you unconditionally to hold everything that you've ever done wrong against you. That's not love. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. They're not going to be happy about the bad things that happen to you. They're not going to go tell so-and-so and so-and-so and just be so happy about all the bad things that happen to you. Right? But it rejoices with the truth. So the truth, the honesty, the loyalty. And this is all just my interpretation. We all might have different interpretations, which is why I'm encouraging everyone to join in the discussion and comment or review or just DM me or whatever to give me your thoughts and insights on this as well. Lastly, love always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Protects, self-explanatory. Trust, self-explanatory. Hope, self-explanatory. Perseveres. I mean, it lasts. It should not end. It's a continuous thing. It keeps going. When someone messes up, it doesn't end. You work through it and you get through it together. Like I said, I'm not very religious, but I still believe in God. And to me, God is the equivalent of unconditional love, that pure light energy. Satan or the devil or whatever you want to call it, it's that fear, it's that control, it's that dark energy. So now the question is, should we love others unconditionally? Who are some people that you think it's okay to love without conditions? Maybe family members, like your parents or your children, your siblings, your significant other, your best friend, maybe a soulmate. Who are the people you do anything for, even when they might not deserve it? Even when they don't give you the same energy? So is unconditional love unhealthy? My first response is no. That kind of pure, unfiltered, selfless love is probably the healthiest form of love. Wouldn't you want the person you're going to spend the rest of your life with to love you no matter what? However, it definitely can be unhealthy and just downright toxic. I hate that word now because of how people have turned it into a joke and something to be proud of, but it's the best way to describe it. Anything that's not good for your soul is toxic. It becomes unhealthy when you allow that unconditional love for someone to drain you. You allow that person to do whatever they want, even if it hurts or disrespects you. That's when boundaries should come into place. We have to set firm and clear boundaries and limits on what we allow from that person. What are some examples of boundaries you can set with them? Maybe you're building a savings account, or you have financial responsibilities for your household, and you have a best friend that keeps asking you for money. So to set a boundary, you could say, I'm sorry, but I can't loan you any money right now. I have my own financial responsibilities I have to take care of. Maybe you have a family member that flip-flops and disrespects you from time to time. Then they try to come back into your life like nothing ever happened. You can distance yourself from them, decline their offers to hang out. If you see them at family functions, be cordial, of course. Say hi. Maybe ask them how they are. That's it. Don't give them any information about you and how you've been, what you're working on or whatever, because they might try to bring you down. Set those clear, firm boundaries. One of my favorite things I've learned from doing therapy is the importance of saying no. No, no, no. Now, I know it's hard. Trust me, I know from experience. Probably every day I feel guilty for telling someone no, or I used to feel scared to tell someone no because I thought maybe they wouldn't like me anymore, or they would hate me, or they would do this, but who cares? Because the most important person is you. At first, you might feel guilty because chances are you're an empathetic person. And those of us with empathy and good hearts can't stand to see the people we love struggling and embracing that dark, demonic energy. But we have to remind ourselves that we come first. It's okay to love them because that's part of unconditional love. It always perseveres. You'll always love them and want the best for them. You'll always want to help them and see them flourish in life. But it's not worth giving yourself away. They have to fill your cup too. They can't just keep pouring from it without refills. So that brings me to the most important part of unconditional love. The person you should love the most is yourself. Please, love your children unconditionally. Love your husband unconditionally. Whoever it is, love them unconditionally if they deserve it. But remember to give yourself that same energy. So what about soulmates? What about twin flames? Do we believe in those? Well, so the same still applies. I don't care how intense the soul connection or tie is, we still have to put ourselves first and maintain those boundaries. And we can have another podcast one day where we dive deeper into those types of concepts. But for now, just know, you still have to put yourself first. If you're like me and how I used to be scared of being vulnerable and having feelings, scared of fully loving someone out of fear that they'd use and hurt me, then you're probably wondering, how do you love someone unconditionally? So I did a deep dive and found 7 tips you can use to practice unconditional love. I'll add my own thoughts and tidbits throughout. So, number 1, it's about how you act and behave towards that person. Actions speak louder than words. We've all heard that a million times, right? You can tell someone you love them as much as you want, but how are your actions? Are you disrespecting that person? Are you being selfish towards that person? Are you being rude? Are you cussing at them, screaming at them, yelling at them? Are you taking from them? Are you using them? Are you manipulating them? Or are you being kind, giving them compliments, giving them insight or advice on how to better themselves? Are you being a good emotional support? Are you listening to them? Are you communicating with them? Are you being honest with them? Are you being selfless with them? Right? Actions speak way louder than words. Do you go above and beyond when you can and when it's worth it? All right, so that's number 1. Number 2 is adapt. It's not always about you. It's not always about what you want. Be open to compromising with others, learning what they like and how they feel. Try things from their perspective. Try to see things from their point of view. It's not always about you. Everybody thinks differently. Everyone reacts to things differently. We all have our own traumas and experiences that we've been through and learned from. and are trying to heal from. So just try to see things from other people's point of view, right? Number 3, remember that sometimes it's uncomfortable. Sometimes the people we love go through horrible traumatic things, like I just mentioned. So a lot of them are also trying to heal from childhood trauma or even recent trauma. They're still trying to grow from bad experiences. They're still trying to learn themselves. So if it doesn't drain you, try to stick by their side. They need a stable support system and someone who truly cares about them, because a lot of people, we haven't had that, right? Where we have it, it's not enough, or we feel like it's not enough, but just stay consistent, right? If they're not draining you, if you can have your boundaries, and if you get tired of something, just say, hey, I need a little break, whatever, but just try to stick by their side, right? It's not always going to be happy, lovey. All right, so number 4, learn how to forgive. They're going to upset you. They're going to annoy you. They're going to make mistakes, but so will you. It's human nature. Holding on to grudges is a fear-based behavior. You're scared, insecure, thinking it'll hurt you again, and you can't bear to deal with that pain again. But little do you know, by not forgiving, you're still holding on to that pain. And it's probably throwing off your spiritual light-dark balance. And this also includes forgiving yourself. I feel like holding and harboring that dark energy can probably disturb you physically, like in your actual physical health. We harbor that pain in our bodies. You might feel it in your gut or in your chest, and you're wondering what it is, and really you just need to cleanse your spirit of all that pain and hurt and agony, right? And hatred. Number 5, if it doesn't drain you, give love to those who you think might not deserve it. For example, people who are rude to you in the drive-thru. That one coworker that always give you backhanded comments, right? Don't take it personally. There's something going on with them, and chances are the root of the problem has nothing to do with you. Kill them with kindness. They need that love. There's obviously something missing in them, making them treat others badly. Pray for them, compliment them, whatever you do. If you stop by a vending machine at work, get them a little piece of candy or something. You never know how they'll react. If they react poorly, at least you did something positive and you'll get your good karma for that, right? So number 6, practice every day. Even if it's just a smile at a stranger who looks upset, or a nice comment on one of your friends' Instagram pictures, or a stranger's Instagram picture or Facebook post. Do something kind every day without expecting a return. Hold the door open for others. It's just little simple, small things we can do like that every day to practice love and unconditional love. And number 7, lastly, as I mentioned before, remember to love yourself unconditionally. No matter how you look, no matter how much you weigh, no matter what you smell like, no matter how long your hair is, how big your butt is, what so-and-so said about you, how much money you make, how much you hate your job, and no matter who doesn't love you, love yourself. So yay, we made it to the end of the first Soulvereignty Podcast. This is just a little taste of what we'll be offering, and hopefully more. We'll be offering more mind-opening, heart-fulfilling, soul-searching topics. And hopefully we'll have guest speakers and be able to do Q&As. Here's an idea of possible future topics. So one of the ideas I thought about is maybe having a podcast about dark empaths versus narcissists. That's a very trendy word in our society nowadays, especially on social media. Everybody is a narcissist, right? Everybody that messes over us and does us wrong is a narcissist. And I used to think like that too, but now I'm kind of starting to think that maybe not. Maybe not everybody is a narcissist. Some of them definitely are. Don't get me wrong. Maybe some people are dark empaths, or maybe they're just extremely traumatized and need some therapy or something. We try to see who we can work with, because we can't have a world full of narcissists. We can't have a world full of people who just live in straight ego fear mode, right? So another topic we can do is light versus dark, yin versus yang. And then this is another big one, intuition or anxiety. I have anxiety a lot, and sometimes I'm wondering, but I also have really, really good intuition. My intuition is immaculate, right? So sometimes I'm like, okay, am I just being intuitive, or is this true anxiety, right? So we can talk about that. Awakening depression. So if you're spiritual like me and you're, having your awakening journey, or if you've already been through it, just kind of like what that was like and going through that and having those dark nights of the soul, right? And then we can also talk about conspiracy theories, like, are ghosts and demons actually aliens or beings from a parallel universe? Or vice versa. Are so-called aliens and parallel, individuals in parallel universes or whatever, are they ghosts and demons? Who knows? We can talk about that. But for now, just let me know what you think of the first episode and what you'd like to hear in the future by commenting on wherever you're listening, like Instagram or YouTube, or leaving a review on iTunes or Spotify. Thank you so much for listening. We're only going up from here. And remember, you hold the authority. Deuces.